All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today. It's a practice called Hamsa Yoga, and you might also hear it called Soham sadhana. And according to ancient scriptures, this isn't just some breathing exercise. It's a seriously powerful way to connect our own awareness with, well, the supreme cosmic consciousness, what's known as the Brahm.
Think about this for a second. We all breathe, right? Something like 20,000 times a day, and we don't even think about it. It's just autopilot. But what if that simple, automatic thing you're doing right now, what if that held the key to a truly profound transformation?
Okay, so let's try to look at our breath in a totally new light. I mean, yeah, obviously it keeps us alive, we get that, but what if its real purpose, its hidden purpose, goes way, way beyond just, basic survival?
So, on a purely physical level, breathing is all about oxygen, right? It's the fuel for the body's engine. But on a spiritual level, we're talking about something else entirely. It's called prana. This is that vital life force, the spark behind your mind, your personality, even your enthusiasm. You can think of it like this. Going for a jog boosts your oxygen, for sure, but special yoga exercises, they're designed specifically to cultivate this deeper, more subtle energy, this prana.
And believe it or not, this whole idea of subtle energy gets even more interesting. It's not just one thing. It's actually broken down into 3 separate but totally connected levels that power our entire being.
Okay, so let's break this down. At the very bottom, you've got oxygen. That's for our physical machine, the gross body. Simple enough. Then you've got prana, which we just talked about. That energizes our mind, our personality, the subtle body. But then there's the top level. It's called mahaprana, and this is the big one. This is described as a sublime, divine, cosmic energy that literally nourishes our soul, the causal body. So of course, the big question is, how on earth do we tap into that?
Well, that's where Hamsa Yoga comes in. That's its entire purpose. It's a practice specifically designed to take the simple, everyday act of breathing and turn it into a way to absorb that cosmic energy, that mahaprana, right from the universe, into the very deepest part of who we are.
So you're probably wondering, how does this actually work? Well, the secret is kind of hidden in plain sight, right in its other name, Soham sadhana. It points to this incredible idea of a universal sound, a sort of mantra that's already there, hidden inside every single breath you take.
At its core, Soham sadhana is really just this. It's the practice of paying super close attention to the natural sounds your own breath makes. And by focusing on those sounds, you start to link your own mind with that supreme cosmic consciousness. It's really all about listening. I mean, really listening to something we spend our entire lives ignoring.
Okay, get this. Here's how that hidden mantra works. When you breathe in, you focus on this subtle sound, soa. And that sound represents the divine. It's like you're inviting the cosmic consciousness in. Then when you breathe out, you concentrate on the sound hum. Now spiritually, hum is connected to the word aham, which just means I, as in the ego. So what you're doing with every single breath is consciously letting go of that ego, of all its illusions. You're literally breathing in the universe and breathing out your individual self. How cool is that?
All right, so that's the amazing theory behind it. But how do you actually do it? Well, it's a pretty straightforward 4-part meditation.
Let's just walk through these 4 steps together. First, you inhale. That's praka. And you're really concentrating on that soa sound, feeling that divine energy just pouring in. Second, you gently hold that breath in. This is antikumbhaka. And in that moment, you feel your whole being devoted to that power of soa. Third, you exhale, rechika. Now you're focusing on hum and really feeling your ego being pushed out, expelled forever. And finally, the 4th step, you hold the breath out, baya kumbhaka, and you just affirm to yourself that the ego's gone, that what's left is only the divine.
Yeah, and this quote really just nails the whole point of that final step. It's about reaching a state where there's just no more room for the ego or any of its illusions. Whatever is left inside you is just a pure reflection of the Brahm. This is actually the realization of a principle called Sivo Aham, which basically means I am Shiva, or I am that supreme consciousness.
Okay, so this is all really profound ancient wisdom, but why should we care about it today in our crazy modern world? Let's take a look at why this practice is actually more relevant than ever.
Let's be real for a second. A lot of the really deep, high-level spiritual practices from ancient times were, well, they were incredibly difficult. I mean, they required you to completely change your life, become an ascetic, and you needed an expert guru to guide you, which, let's face it, is, as the source material says, almost impossible to find these days. And this is exactly why Hamsa Yoga is such a game changer for people today. It's simple. It's considered risk-free. You don't have to give up your life or follow all these super strict disciplines. You can literally do it at home, and it fits right into a busy life with work, family, all of it. And here's the kicker. It's said to offer the same level of spiritual benefits as those way more difficult paths. It creates a direct line, a link between your soul and the divine.
So if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. The practice of Soham transforms every single breath you take into a little reminder of your own divine nature. It's this constant, gentle nudge that keeps you connected to the source. And it's through that connection that the real prize is offered, the realization of the Brahm, of your true self.
So you see, the elixir for self-realization, this incredible potential for transformation, it's not hidden on some mountaintop or in some ancient, inaccessible text. It's right here. It's in your own breath. The only question left is, are you going to listen?
Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something we do, about 20,000 times a day without even thinking about it. Breathing. We're going to explore the ancient science behind it and see how it can be this incredibly powerful tool for changing our physical, mental, and even our spiritual well-being.
So, let's just start with a really big question. We all think of breath as, well, just air, right? Oxygen. It's the fuel that keeps our bodies running. But what if it was carrying something more? Something subtle, something powerful, and something absolutely essential to life itself? That's the idea we're going to dig into.
So to answer that question, we've got to look to ancient yogic science. Turns out they have a specific name for this something more, this hidden power that's riding along with every single breath we take. And understanding it is the key to unlocking its real potential.
And that power is called prana. Now, try not to think of it as just the air we're breathing. Think of it more as the fundamental life force of the entire universe. It's the energy that animates everything. According to this philosophy, we're literally swimming in an ocean of this divine energy. And our breath, well, that's the main way we pull it into ourselves. Okay, so if we're surrounded by this incredible energy, this prana, how do we actually work with it on purpose, consciously? Well, there's a practice designed for that exact reason, and it goes way beyond just simple breathing.
That practice is called pranayama. And here's the most important thing to get. It is not just a breathing exercise. It's really a two-part process. First, there's the controlled breathing that gets the body in harmony, but just as important is the conscious act of attracting and absorbing that universal life force, what the source material calls Mahaprana, or the Great Prana.
And this is where you can really see the difference. Look, jogging or stretching, fantastic physical exercises, great for your lungs. But pranayama is a whole different ballgame. It's a combined effort of your body and your mind. The goal is to go beyond just physical health and start influencing our mental and spiritual states by working directly with that life force.
But how? How exactly do you attract prana? It's not like you can just wish for it and it shows up. There's a very specific mental tool that's required. It's kind of like the secret ingredient that turns simple breathing into this powerful spiritual practice. And that secret ingredient is sankalpa. You can think of it as a heartfelt resolution, a focused intention that has real power behind it. It's the engine of the whole practice. The source actually describes it as a magnet that actively pulls that subtle energy of prana right into your system, along with the air you're breathing.
And get this is where it gets really fascinating. Look at the weight given to this power of intention. According to the source, a staggering 75% of a spiritual practice's success has nothing to do with the physical action. It comes from the strength and the sincerity of your sankalpa.
I mean, think about that for a second. The physical act of breathing, your posture, all the specific techniques, all of that together is just a quarter of the outcome. The real work, where the real power comes from, is your focused, heartfelt will. In other words, your intention is the cause, and the physical practice is just the effect.
And just to give you a sense of the scale of this power we're talking about, the source points out that this is the exact same force that when people come together can literally shape history. It's not just some personal self-help tool. It's seen as a fundamental force of creation and change in the universe.
So, if this power of intention can work on such a massive scale, how do we start to cultivate it on a personal level? Let's bring it all the way back down to the individual and look at how these concepts, breath and intention, come together in a simple, foundational practice that really anyone can explore.
All right, so the cycle has 4 parts. First up, you inhale. That's paraka. And as you do, you visualize this current of divine energy entering your body. Second, you hold the breath, anti-kumbhaka. In this step, you feel that energy expanding, getting absorbed. Third, you exhale. That's rachika. And with that exhale, you imagine all the negativity, all the weaknesses just leaving your system.
And finally, you pause for just a moment before the next breath, baya kumbhaka, which creates this little space and prevents that negativity from rushing back in.
And if you're thinking of trying this, the source gives a few really helpful tips. Posture is super important. Sit with a straight spine. Try to keep a calm state of mind. And if you're just starting out, 4 or 5 cycles for about 5 minutes is a perfect way to begin. Then, over time, the goal is to make each of those 4 steps, the inhale, hold, exhale, and pause, equal in length.
So that's the foundation. But really, that's just the beginning. Now we can take a look at what the source calls the supreme evolution of pranayama, a practice known as Soham sadhana.
This practice is held in such high regard, it's sometimes considered its own entire category of yoga. It's seen as the absolute pinnacle of breathwork, because it requires the most profound level of that focused intention, that sankalpa that we've been talking about. So, here's the crucial point. It's all about the goal. This isn't just about feeling good or being calm. The stated potential of Soham sadhana is nothing less than the evolution of your own individual self to connect with the universal divine consciousness. It is a practice of ultimate unity.
But what exactly is Soham? Well, it's a sound, but here's the catch. It's not one you make with your voice. It's a subtle internal vibration that is said to be naturally present within your own breath cycle. The key is, you don't create it, you simply learn to listen for it.
And here's a great way to think about it. Most sounds we hear are struck sounds. They happen when two things collide, like a drumstick hitting a drum. But Soham is considered an unstruck sound. It's this primordial vibration that isn't created at all. It's just there, an eternal hum of the universe that you can learn to tune into through your own breath. And that really brings us to a final, pretty powerful idea. Your breath is your constant companion. It's with you from your very first moment to your very last. It is always there. So what if your intention could be too? This philosophy suggests that if we can learn to pair that constant, life-giving rhythm of our breath with a constant, powerful, and positive intention, well, the potential for what we can create within ourselves is truly limitless.
All right, let's dive into something pretty amazing today. We're going on a journey, but not to some far-off place. We're going deep inside ourselves to uncover the hidden meaning of something you're doing right now without even thinking about it: breathing. Seriously, what if that simple in and out of your breath was way more than just biology? What if it was actually a constant, silent prayer, a cosmic sound that's been linking you to, well, everything, your entire life? You see, according to ancient spiritual science, that's exactly what's going on. Deep down in our soul, there's this self-existing, non-stop vibration. It's a silent chant that's happening with every single breath we take. And that cosmic sound, that incredible vibration, it has a name. It's called Soham. And this is the core idea we really need to unpack to get what's happening inside us all the time. Okay, so Soham isn't a word from some old grammar book. It's described as a nada, which means a sublime, self-existing sound. It's literally the vibration of unity. So stands for the supreme universal consciousness, the Braham, and Aham is the individual you, yourself. Put them together, and Soham is this constant, eternal declaration that you and the universe are one and the same. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I am. That can sound a little arrogant, right? But that's a huge misunderstanding. The I we're talking about here is not the ego, that limited identity that's all wrapped up in our body and our thoughts. That's the kind of arrogance we see in figures like Ravan, who saw himself as separate and better than everything else. No. The I in Soham is the soul, recognizing itself for what it is, a little piece of the divine, a realization of total oneness, not separateness. Okay, so if this incredible sense of oneness is our true nature, why don't we feel it all the time? Why do we so often feel so alone, so separate? Well, the answer lies in a concept called Maya. Think of Maya as a sort of veil of ignorance. It's the state we're in when we make the mistake of believing that our physical body and our chattering mind are the entirety of who we are. And that one little mistake, it confines us. It traps us in this small, self-centered world. And living under this illusion, well, it has some pretty real consequences. Our whole world shrinks down to just selfish stuff. We get tangled up in materialistic attachments. We get stuck in this endless loop of wanting things, which, just leads to more suffering. It can even push us to hurt other people to get what we want. And it completely slams the door on any real spiritual growth. But here's the good news. There is a way to get out from under that veil. There's a practice specifically designed to dissolve Maya and plug us back into that feeling of oneness, and it's called Soham sadhana. So a Soham sadhana is a spiritual practice, basically a kind of meditation that's all about shifting your perception. It's designed to wake up that feeling of unity that's been dormant inside you, helping your soul remember where it really came from, not as some separate little thing, but as a direct reflection of the whole universe. To help us wrap our heads around this, spiritual teachers use this beautiful analogy. Think about a wave in the ocean. A wave might look like its own thing for a minute, but it's never really separate from the ocean. It is the ocean. Or here's another great one, a spark and a fire. A single spark is made of the exact same stuff as the huge fire it came from. It's just a tiny piece, but it has the exact same nature as the whole thing. And finally, get this image in your head. When polluted water from a gutter flows into the holy river Ganges, it just becomes the Ganges. Its old, separate identity is completely washed away, and it becomes one with the pure, holy water. And that's kind of what Soham does. It purifies and elevates our individual soul, letting it merge back into the divine. Now, this is where this huge cosmic idea gets super personal and connects directly to your body. This is absolutely wild. If you say this sound Soham really fast over and over, without a pause, like Soham, 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 it starts to sound like it's reversing itself. It becomes Hamsoa, 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 which just naturally shortens to Hamsa, Hamsa. The two sounds are literally two sides of the same coin. And here's the kicker. This connects directly to your breath. When you breathe out, there's a natural ha sound. That's called hakar. When you breathe in, there's a sa sound. That's sakar. Put them together, and the full cycle of your breath, out and in, creates the silent mantra Hamsa. 21,600. Just let that number sit there for a second. What on earth could that be? That is the average number of breaths you take in a single day, which means every single one of us is already performing this Hamsa mantra over 21,000 times a day, and we don't even know it. So the big takeaway here is this isn't something you have to go out and learn. It is happening inside you right now. So let's just recap this whole journey real quick. We started with Soham, this sublime cosmic truth that we are all one. Then we ran into Maya, the illusion of being separate that holds us all back. And now we've arrived at Hamsa Yoga, the path to remembering the truth, a path found in just becoming aware of the breath you're already breathing. And what's the ultimate goal of all this? Well, here's the beautiful part. The word Hamsa also means swan in Sanskrit. And just like a swan can fly free in the sky, completely unattached to the world below, realizing this deep connection in our own breath can liberate us from all those worldly attachments, letting our spirits just soar. So, you see, the ultimate truth isn't something you need to go find somewhere out there. It's a sound, a vibration that's been with you since the moment you were born. The only real question left is, are you listening?